welcome to the Unlock Your Limitless Potential podcast. I am your host, Amy Moore, also known as Amy Hates Carrots, and I am a transformational coach, a trainer of many subconscious, somatic, and energetic modalities, and a spiritual business mentor who is here to support you in quieting that darn carrot-chasing ego, aligning to what your soul is calling you to instead, and diving deep within to activate the limitless potential and wisdom that already exists within you now. On this podcast, you'll learn all about your inner world, how to create the reality that you want, how to make decisions that support your truest, most limitless self, and how to create positive and lasting change in your life and your soul-driven business. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's dive in, shall we? Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unlock Your Limitless Potential podcast. Today, I'm coming to you solo so we can chat about how your inner world works. And we're going to do this with a little introduction to how your mind works and how your programming impacts your life and how you move through the world. And this will, in turn, bring you more ease, more confidence, and more inner harmony in your day-to-day life. So let's dive in, shall we? Most of us are taught that if we want to change our life, we have to do something differently than what we are doing. To create a new habit, for example, we have to just get up early, set this alarm clock, and do whatever the thing is. If you want to start working out or work out more, you buy these certain clothes, you get a gym membership, and you're taught by simply changing your behavior, you will get a different outcome because of that. Now, this is where the majority of society falls into this trap, where we just start doing, right? We start forcing ourselves to do things, to hustle more, to rush to this outcome of this better life that we are seeking. And so someone who wants to improve their health and their wellness, they might buy those new gym clothes, they might get that gym membership, but they don't go to the gym consistently, or they don't actually change their eating habits in a way that will serve them best. And we have to ask ourselves, like, why does this happen? Why are we so ready to make the short-term changes, but then nothing actually sticks in the long run? We start doing, and it's almost like this record spinning round and round and round and round, but we never actually get to the results that we want. And the reason is because the real change is going to come from a shift within ourselves first. A change within the programs and the paradigms or the patterns that we are holding within ourselves, within our mind and within our body and within our energy. Because the majority of the world does think that by forcing this outside to change, that's going to create some sort of a different life. And what I have found is by going deeper, by looking at the patterns, looking at the programs, and then releasing what no longer serves me and installing the programs that actually support me and who I want to be in this chapter of my life, then the way that I think and my energy can completely shift and change. Your way of being, your relationship with yourself, your knowledge of yourself, it can all be completely different. And when we have that, it creates this beautiful sense of self-love and greater self-trust, which changes everything for the better. You're able to develop a true sense of confidence that you can't get by just doing and pushing and forcing things to happen. You can only get it by looking inwards and connecting to you, the truest version of you. And so the subconscious mind and your energy and your nervous system, they are all such a huge portion of that. And while it might seem kind of backwards to a lot of people or to your human thinking mind, this is actually what I have found has truly worked in my life and with so many of my clients and students as well. Each and every one of us goes through life and we're running off of programs. And I want to talk about why this is a good thing, because so often we only focus on why it's bad. And we look at the programs that we have and we're like, oh, that isn't serving me well. I need to shift that. But there are a lot of good reasons why there's programs too. There's always a reason that served you as to why the program was put there in the first place. So let's just talk about that programming for a minute and how there are these good sides to it. Just imagine yourself sitting there right now. You are listening to my voice, but imagine having to think about your ear and your eardrum and receiving the sound waves that are coming to you and having to process that and translate it inside of your mind so that you can actually receive the information that you are hearing. Imagine having to sit there and focus on taking each breath in and out in order to get oxygen to your body and then distributing that oxygen throughout your body. Imagine having to be pumping your own heart, digesting your whatever food you ate, regulating your hormones and your body temperature. Like, your inner world is doing so much for you all the time. So there are a lot of good things affiliated with programming. Not all programs are bad. And imagine flashback to being a baby, and you stood up, you tried to walk, and you fell so many times, right? Well, what if you had just given up on that? You never learned how to walk and you were just crying all the time, waiting for someone to bring you whatever it is that you need. Or fast forward to being a young child and you never were able to really piece together how to build a relationship with another person, with someone else. You might go through your whole life not being able to ever really get to know anybody. And so you can make the longest list of examples of positive programs. But the thing that's important to understand from this is that from the ages of 0 to 7, you were basically a walking little sponge. You are in this state of super learning. As you go through those first 7 years of life, you are in and out of these alpha and theta brainwave states, and parts of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, it hasn't actually fully formed yet. And so you're in this state of just soaking stuff in. They call it super learning, where your sponge-like brain is just soaking up everything that's happening around you, all of the information that's occurring, all of the language, how to eat, how to behave around others, how to build relationships, how to communicate. All of those things, you just saw them and they just came in and they went in and became a part of the programming of your subconscious mind. And so what we need to learn from all of this is that there's a lot of good, but there's also some stuff there that might not serve us, because a lot of the stuff that's stored there, a lot of the programs are modeled from other people, from parents or caregivers, from the movies, from teachers, from friends, from mentors, from people around us and society in general. And so that state of super learning that we were in during that time, it can be a very good thing. But we want to just become aware of what our own programming is. whatever we were modeled from in those ages, it's essentially going to get locked into our subconscious, and we're going to continue to live out those programs for the rest of our lives unless we choose to go in and make some adjustments there to take our power back, to take back control of our lives and reset the programs that no longer serve us. It's almost like there is this huge supercomputer inside of us. Computers just read the language of coding, right? And whatever the code is, it's just going to stay that same code because the computer wants to be efficient. It has a lot going on and it just wants to preserve energy. And so it's just going to keep doing that and doing that and doing that. So the stuff that when you were 5 that was programmed, fast forward to being like age 30, it might not be the same programming you want to run off of anymore. And so you just have to go in and make adjustments to the coding. And this process is, unfortunately, in my opinion, rare for people to learn. So many people will never fully learn about their own inner world, how their mindset works at this deeper level. And it really breaks my heart because there's people that live the entirety of their lives never learning how to communicate effectively, never learning how to listen effectively, never learning how to manage their own emotions, never learning that they are truly limitless and capable of anything that their heart desires. They can't recognize that they get to be the creator of their life rather than their life just being this thing that just happens to them. And so when we do take our power back and we realize that we have this limitless mindset rather than a fixed mindset, we're able to look around and we actually can see the opportunities, the capabilities, the possibilities that surround us at all times. And then we're able to actually believe that we're capable and worthy of what it is that we want. And so these programs, they go in and they're being programmed from 0 to 7. And then around the age of 7 or 8, that's when our prefrontal cortex becomes fully formed. And at that moment in our life, that's when we start rationalizing things. That's when the way that we think changes and we're able to critically ask questions and we can start to reject or accept information, which is so great and it's so empowering. We might find that things that we just thought were true, believed to be true, we're now able to start questioning those. But the thing is that original programming can still be there too. And so that's why it's so important to really get to understand what is going on within ourselves. And so let's look at some examples. So if you grew up and you were modeled that relationships are hard, they are very challenging. You witnessed your parents or your caregivers always fighting, or maybe they even split up, or maybe there was a lot of painful experiences related to that. It's going to be probably something because you witness so much deceit, so many lies, so much pain. There's a lot of programming that has taken place related to your beliefs about relationships. And so fast forward to you being an adult and you might have some trust issues related to relationships. You might not feel safe staying in a relationship for X amount of time because you were shown that it's not fun to do so. You might have the belief system that relationships are hard, they're really painful. And so subconsciously, you choose not to be in one, even though consciously you think that you're on these dating apps and you want to find a partner to spend time with and all of these things. You're taking all this action, but your inner world and your subconscious mind doesn't actually want the same result as your conscious mind does. And when the conscious and the subconscious are in conflict, the subconscious mind will win 99.9% of the time. And the reason that it wins is because it's the ultimate decision maker. And that's why anytime you're seeking some sort of transformation or positive change in your life, you have to start within. And it's so important to involve these different parts of you, the systems within your body, the energy flowing through you, and the subconscious mind. And so when you take a step back and you think about this, I'm a projector. I'm always zooming back out on things and looking at the bird's eye view of everything. And what you can see is that what once allowed you to survive, these old beliefs, these habits, these behaviors, these patterns that were programmed into you as a tiny person, they were put in place to protect you, to serve some sort of a positive purpose somehow. And then fast forward to now as the adult you are, and they might be the very things preventing you from thriving as the person that you want to be in the present. And I have a lot of examples of this from my own life, but one of the really big ones that took me a while to work on my healing journey was that as a child, my subconscious programmed me to play very small, to stay very hidden, to be quiet, to stay shy, to not be noticed, so that I could stay safe in my environment, quote unquote, safe according to my inner world. Well, technically, it served a purpose back then. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, thank you, mind, energy, and body, for protecting me, for doing what was serving me best back then. But now here I am today as the adult that I am, and I have this huge mission and this purpose where I want to help teach others how to empower themselves with all of the information that we're talking about today and so much more. And so in order to do that, in order to have this successful business where I'm able to put myself out there, I have to play super big in my life and my business. I need to be loud about it. I need to be noticed. I need to be seen. And that's literally the opposite of everything that was programmed into me as a child. And it's no wonder, which you can always see on your own journey in hindsight so clearly. But before I learned any of this, I felt like I was constantly internally battling myself. Like, no matter how hard I worked, matter how much effort I put into things, or I tried, or I forced, or I hustled, nothing was working because my insides, my inner world didn't feel safe enough to receive it. I would spiral into these self-sabotaging behaviors, and I would allow limiting beliefs to overpower my every decision. And my nervous system was like constantly out of regulation because I was forcing myself to do these things to get an outcome that I only consciously wanted, but that my inner world didn't feel safe enough to receive. And that is why this information is so important. Our mind, body, and energy, they are going to take the programs that were put there so long ago, and they're going to make them our reality in the present. And as we begin to do this work and we start to build and break down these beliefs that don't serve us, we're able to really start to see that just because something happened in one situation doesn't mean that all reality has to be that. Just because someone's mother, for example, struggled with money doesn't mean that everyone has to struggle with money or that I have to struggle with money. Just because a relative's business didn't work out the way that they wanted it to, it wasn't a quote unquote success, it doesn't mean that your business can't be a success. Just because some kids were really mean to you at school and they didn't like you, that doesn't mean that not anybody likes you. So just because you saw one example of one thing, it doesn't mean that that has to be your reality forever. And sometimes it's like we live in a fishbowl. I forget where I heard this metaphor, but I love it so much. It's like we think that everything is happening around us and that that's reality when really we're in water. We're drowning in this water of this belief. When when we're able to get out of it and look at it, we can be like, oh, that was just one little fishbowl. And I was just forcing myself to stay in that when really there's a whole world, this whole ocean of other opportunities over here. So even though life looked a certain way before, it does not mean that it has to stay that way. It can look however you want it to in the future. And once you start to change things on the inside, you can open up your mind, you can open up your reticular activating system. You can start to see these new opportunities and possibilities that you weren't able to see before because your mind was just closed to seeing it. And now you're choosing to open it, and you are going to get more of what you want from doing so. And when you're able to do that, you can really, really start to see that you are the creator of your life. And you get to create from this place of more ease, creation that gets to be sustainable and everlasting. And it feels more in flow. It feels more natural. It's just as natural as brushing your teeth, walking, tying your shoes, all of the things that were programmed into us. And we're just updating the programs to serve us and who we want to be now. And so there are so many tools and techniques out there that you are able to work with to do this. And it's so wonderful because what they're doing is they work and adjust with your critical faculty, which is a part of your mind that's going to determine whether it's accepting that information or rejecting that information. And when we bypass that part consciously, we're able to say, oh, that's not true. That's like an old belief that someone told me once, but it's not actually a belief that I want to have. I choose for that to not be true. And then we go into the subconscious mind and we're able to write a new program, a new belief that actually serves us. And this is what modalities like NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and so many others actually do for us. We're able to work with all of the minds so that we can write these new programs that are going to work so much better for you. So if you have always believed that, I'm working with a client recently on public speaking. And so let's use that as an example. If you've believed that public speaking is the scariest thing ever and you're horrible at it, and that's not working for you, especially if you want to grow your business, you want to be a coach, you want to be a speaker, you want to be a leader in your industry in some way, shape, or form. And so you're going to want to go within, you're going to want to work with your inner world the same way that you were programmed to tie your shoes or eat. You're going to work with that part of you, and you're going to go in and you're going to program yourself to believe that you are an amazing speaker, that you are an amazing leader, that you love showing up and sharing your voice with others and your story and speaking your truth, and that it's safe to do so, or whatever belief it is that you want to have, you are able to actually put that in there so that it can serve you. And whatever you decide to program into your subconscious, you're able to live out those actions without force. You develop your nervous system regulation, you work with your energy so that you can move from this place of constantly forcing, constantly doing, constantly hustling to a place of taking your power back. It's just that natural for you to just be that person now. You are just an amazing public speaker now, and it's that easy. So I believe that when you do the inner work, you release what is no longer serving you. You let go of that darn carrot chasing ego and the limiting beliefs and the things that have tied you into who you no longer are, and you're able to step into your power. that beautiful, creative soul that you are, the incredible light worker, the amazingly gorgeous, multidimensional being that you know you truly are. Your energy is going to completely change. How you feel about yourself is going to change. How people around you see and feel about you is going to change. And when you give yourself permission to be that person, it allows you to do the work and make the impact that you're meant to make in this world. And when you work from the subconscious again, it starts to happen so naturally because you're shifting those internal programs that allow you to just kind of do it on autopilot without having to put all this conscious energy into it. And so you can think about whatever goal it is that you have or whatever desired outcome, and you just shift your internal programs to line up to that, to align to that, to put you on the path to that. So you naturally become the person who achieves that, who already has that outcome. And therefore, you're just magnetizing and manifesting it into your life. Oh, it's such a beautiful process. And so today, rather than just tell you all of the things and you're like, okay, that's awesome, Amy, I would love to invite you to integrate this into your life today and begin to just become aware with what your current programs are. What is the internal programming and the paradigms that you are currently running off of today? And you do that by looking at your current reality. Do this by thinking about something that it is that you want right now, some desired outcome or goal that you currently have, and then ask yourself, what do you believe to be true about that? So let's say it's to have more money. Well, what do you believe to be true about money? If it's because you want to set a goal about working out more, well, what do you believe to be true about working out? If it's to improve a relationship, well, what do you believe to be true about relationships in your current relationship? And I really encourage you to just literally write it out in a journal. When you handwrite on paper, you are activating your subconscious. You're able to gather more information than if you were to type it out or if you were to speak it out. And so if you can do it by hand, I highly encourage it. And just allow yourself to keep writing, and keep writing. And you'll be amazed at the list that forms and possibly how negative or disempowering some of the beliefs that you have about the very outcome that you desire are, and how they actually conflict with what it is that you want. And it's the very first step to creating any change is having the awareness of what is already going on in there. And so I really invite you to give yourself permission to dive deep with this and start to see what beliefs are not serving you. What programs, what patterns are running on these loops like a supercomputer inside of you? And that awareness alone is such a powerful step. And if you want to start working with your own subconscious more, I have a free workshop called Unlock Your Limitless Potential, of course, that you can sign up for on my website. And or if you are feeling called to dive so much deeper into this is like a teeny tiny piece of one lesson inside of my certification program, the Limitless Method. And this is where you become certified as a practitioner and a coach of 7 different subconscious, energetic, and somatic modalities. Inside, we dive so much deeper in how your inner world works so that you can empower yourself in your own journey of personal expansion, but also to use in your work with others. So this is an all-in-one self-paced experience where you are guided to grow and nurture your heart-centered coaching business. If you are an aspiring coach, an experienced coach, a facilitator, a light worker, a healer, a practitioner of any kind, whatever word resonates with you, and you are looking to facilitate these limitless results for yourself and your clients, then I would love to invite you to hop on a free discovery call with me, and we can just chat and see if this is the right experience for you in this current chapter of your journey. So just visit amyhatescarrots.com for more information on either of these experiences, or message me over on Instagram at amyhatescarrots if you have any questions. And I am sending you and your amazing inner world so much love. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have enjoyed this episode, I would be so dang grateful if you shared it with others, subscribed to this podcast, and left an awesome review. You can also connect with me anytime on your favorite social platform at Amy Hates Carrots, or visit amyhatescarrots.com for all of my latest offers and free goodies that will help further support you on your journey. And just as a reminder, you, my dear, are truly limitless, and every single thing that you need is already within you now. You get to choose at any moment to live as the truest version of you and come home to the remembering of your unlimited power. I love you and your gorgeous soul so much, and I hope that you have a limitless day.